What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the rePORTER Show. We are back again, this time with another coach that has brought home another SAC championship for us. On the men's side in track and field and the outdoor, we have Toby Kirk here, and of course we had to bring on the big dog, you know what I'm saying, so y'all can see that trophy. We've been bringing home a lot of awards in the spring, you know. The spring sports starting to carry the load a little bit. I think we might
make a little name for ourselves.
what's that thing that they do for the schools, the Commissioner's Cup or something?
Oh yeah.
I think we got a chance. I think we got a chance. Wrestling did good.
Yeah.
Track did good. Baseball got the regular
baseball
season.
got it too. Yeah.
So we absolutely. Golf, golf.
You know,
we gotta
golf
win
good
it.
for it. Golf.
We gotta
win
win it. Okay, but we wanted to bring on Toby, man, because of course that was the first championship for the men's in the outdoor, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so go ahead and walk me through it. I know there was some dramatics on the men's side of things. Just take me through that whole journey for you guys.
Man, you know, to start the conference championship off, you know, we started with our multis. You know, Aiden went out and killed it in the multi, ended up getting second, scoring the 8 points. That was really big early. You know, I'm a big believer in the momentum and letting the momentum shift and carry throughout the weekend. You know, day one, we were kind of in a dogfight till the very end. 10K guys went in and swept the podium, went 1, 2, 3, scored a solid 24 points. You know, and that was a great way to end off the night. You know, I think that really helped carry momentum into day three. You know, and then as we got into day three, you know, everybody was just willing to rock and roll. Yeah. Willing to put hammer to the nail, fight tooth and nail, day in, day out. Without those kids, I mean, they wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't be here without them. Yeah. You know, they won this thing. You know, it came down to the 4x4. Had an unfortunate situation in the 5K pop up, and you know, I gotta say that Jay Sanchez really stepped up and showed out. You know, we were sitting in 8th place and really needed a big turn of events to happen right before that 4x4 to kind of keep us in it, keep us involved. Jace went from 8th to 2nd within a span of a couple laps. Closed the last lap in 60 seconds, really to try to go take down the leader. Then we got down to the 4x4, and the cherry on top was hitting the national standard in the 4x4, and then they got to win it, and watching them do that was nothing but a blessing, and it was just so much fun to be a part of.
Yeah, emotionally, how did that feel for you guys to win that with all the things that happened with track at the beginning of the year? You know, you guys had coach that left right before the season started, and then I guess you guys were sort of left with an unknowing lead to where the track was going to be at in that sense. But now that you guys are here and y'all brought home a regular season champion, how does that, or not a regular season, but the conference meets champions, how does that feel?
You know, I think it's bittersweet. You know, I think the team did a great job of adapting and overcoming. You know, that's one of the biggest things that I preach to them every day is adapt and overcome and just stay composed. You know, because those are 3 big things that we need in this lifetime, regardless of the situation. And I think they've done great about that. Yeah. You know, with Coach Miller leaving and me stepping in, you know, they at least had a familiar face to kind of stick around. But you know, it's never easy having a coaching change, especially coming right into the indoor season. You know, having a successful season in cross country, I felt very confident stepping into it. And I felt very confident about the group. I knew what they were capable of. I knew what they could do. And this was the goal from the very beginning. You know, we've talked about this since I got here, is we're going to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. Last year we ended up 4th, and then coming away with the win. You know, after the coaching change and everything with our backs against the wall is nothing but a blessing. Yeah.
How excited are you for the program moving forward? I noticed as I was going through a lot of these awards, a lot of these guys are younger guys. You got a lot of freshmen and got a lot of sophomores, so that's pretty big for the program as a whole.
Yeah, you know, the big thing I think is about carrying the torch. You know, and some of those seniors that have stuck around and kind of been through the 500 coaching changes that have happened over the years. You know, those guys have stuck it thin and thick and thin. You know, if you go in and look at some of those guys that have stuck around, you know, Case Drum, Jay Sanchez, you know, they are what I would say. That's who I would call Wayland, right there. Those are the kind of kids that would represent Wayland. And you know, to answer it, like, man, I don't really know that I have an answer for it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like I think for that young group, it's phenomenal, and I think them stepping forward in the right direction and knowing that what the standard is.
Yeah.
I mean, the standard's here, and next year the goal is to be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And constantly trying to bring it back every year.
Yeah.
Get to the national stage.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I would definitely say there's something to be said for the seniors who stuck it out through. Nowadays, a lot of people, just in college athletics in general, not only in the sport of track, but when it gets hard, they just jump ship and go somewhere else. And, their parents tell them, you need to leave, and this place isn't doing you good enough, and vice versa. But I think there's something to be said for that group of seniors who stuck around through all the coaching changes, maybe some seasons that weren't as good as they wanted them to be individually and as a team. Yeah. So I definitely got to tip my hat to those guys who stuck around and just really developed not only as an athlete, but as a person as well. And I'm glad that they're getting to see the benefits of doing such a thing. Yeah. And then yourself as well. I'm sure you could have jumped ship as soon as the other coach did, but you stepped up to the plate and you did literally the best you could do.
The best thing you could do.
You couldn't have did any better. You got the conference championship. So I have to give you your credit for that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I think that's a testament to itself. I think a lot of times, like you just spoke on, it's hard to stick things out when it doesn't seem like it's in your benefit. Mm-hmm. It's very selfless to be able to take on that role and know that you haven't been given the best hand and still take it and go succeed. So props to you, props to the athletes that you've coached up, and winning the men's SAC outdoor championship this year. How many guys do you have that y'all are taking to nationals?
So as of right now, I believe that we're taking 7.
Seven.
Okay. We're taking a relay, and then we're taking 2 individuals.
Got you. Okay. Well, that's great, man. That's all we got for y'all on the track side of things. Of course, we'll get into the individual things. But I thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And I just wish you the best of luck as y'all move on into the NCCAAs and also the NAIAs. If I don't even know if y'all are going. Are y'all going to the NCCAAs?
We are not going to the NCCAAs.
Okay, so just NAIAs.
Yep, but we are running a last chance meet out at W2 right up the road.
Okay.
On May 11th.
Okay, got you.
Wow. And I'm going to put my 2 cents in because that's what I'm always going to put my 2 cents in, man. I know how I went with the indoor people who qualified for NCCA.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and say it. That was, they got cheated. I ain't gonna lie. That sucks. For you to work hard to qualify for something and you finally achieve that goal and then you get that dream stripped of you. In my opinion, it's not right. I'm about to leave here, so I really don't care. I'm going to say it. So for you guys, the NCCA got stripped, and you guys say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and bring 7 to the NAI, the real deal, the national tournament. So I think I really appreciate that you did that for those kids, and I think that's a big deal.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So we had the men's side of things. I did want to go through those individual awards because he talked about it as a whole, but of course I want to highlight those individuals that did medal at this meet. So Matthew Gordon, he carried a big load. He placed first in the 800 meter with a time of 1:52.59. And he just fell out of medaling in the 400 meter by 0.6 of a second. He placed 4th in that one. And then he placed first in the 1500 meter with a time of 3:57.97. Behind him in the 1500 meter was Jace Sanchez placing 2nd with a time of 3:59.04. And then Jace also brought home another silver in the 5,000 meter after running 15:39.54. And he wasn't done with the silver medal. And with the silver medals, he placed 2nd in the 10,000 meter as well, running at 33:05.71. But that's not all. We swept, as he said, in that 10,000 meter as a team. So David Hernandez placed first in the 10,000 with a time of 32:20.58, and then Ryder Robertson rounded out that top 3 with a time of 33:30.37. Mark, I'm gonna just say Mark because I don't want to butcher your name on here, bro. But Mark just missed the podium in the 400 meter hurdles by 0.3 of a second, so he was really, really, really close to placing and medaling at this meet. As a team, in the 4x4, we placed 2nd with a time of 3:15.47. That team consisted of Young, Drum, Constantino, and Gordon. And then we placed 2nd in the 4x8 as well with a time of 8:01.58. That team consisted of Jonathan, Gordon, Robertson, and Hernandez. In the field, Houston Stark, a freshman, placed 2nd in the high jump with a jump of 1.97 meters, which is 6 feet 5.5 inches. And then Logan Mino, another freshman, just missed the podium by an inch. So he placed 4th in the high jump. And then Diego Constantino placed 2nd in the pole vault with a jump of 4.36 meters, and that conversion is 14 feet and 3.5 inches. Edmundo Avalos placed 3rd in the hammer throw with a throw of 36.94 meters. And then Aiden Heredia who he talked about, placed second in the decathlon with 5,308 points. And the decathlon is 10 events between track and field. So you running and you're doing field events. So you're doing a little bit of everything. So that is nothing simple to do. So it was big for him to, first of all, compete in it, but also get second. And like Coach said, it earned us some big points. So that was good for the men's side of things. And then on the women's side of things, Immaculata placed third in the 1,500 meter with a time of 4:53.66, and she missed the podium in the 5,000 meter by just 2 seconds. And then Amber C placed second in the 3K steeplechase with a time of 13:15.03. And then Mia Gray placed first in the discus with a throw of 41.35 meters. The conversion of that is 135 feet and 8 inches. And then she placed second in the shot put with a throw of 13 meters, which the conversion of that is 42 feet and 8 inches. And then Jada Mason brought home the only gold on the women's side by placing first in the long jump with a time, with a jump of 5.39 meters, which the conversion of that is 17 feet and 8.25 inches. And she placed second in the triple jump with a jump of 10.42 meters. So she handled her business in the jumps. And the ladies, I believe, placed sixth, if I'm not mistaken. I think they placed sixth. I could be wrong on that, but we did have some individuals that medaled, so that was big for them as well. But that's all we got for track. Did y'all have anything that y'all wanted to add on to that?
Big performance from track overall.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, guys like Aiden, huge with that second place in the decathlon. And, I mean, shout out to Jace. I mean, what was it, the 1,500, I believe?
Yeah.
5,000
Yeah.
and 10,000?
And the 10,000.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Hey, props to you, Jason.
Yeah, brother was carrying, man.
I know I'm not doing that.
Nah,
I'm not doing one of those.
Yeah,
at all.
man.
So, I mean, huge props to him. Everybody, like I said, handled their business. We brought the men's championship home. So, I mean, love to see it. Great job by
and
track.
of course,
overall.
before his last race, we were behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Still not really even in contention for first until he made a big push and finished second. So that set the 4x4 up, and then of course that's what the crowd wants. The last race.
The last race
of the meet, the 4x4 determines who gets to go home with the trophy. So they call that the gut race. Whoever has the most guts wins that one. So we handled business and got the conference championship. Yeah. So we're kind of like the basketball team. We just like to keep it close, just just for the entertainment. Yeah, that's all.
Man,
That's all.
you know what was crazy? We did it without Justin. If you didn't notice, Justin was not. He was sick. That boy got sick. He got food poisoning. Tough way to go out when you got to SAC championships, right? You can't compete because somebody poisoned that man. They ain't want him to win. It was somebody from Texas West.
It must been.
They did something to that food.
That's Texas Wesleyan, bro. You gotta watch them.
But that's all we got for y'all for track, man. Let's go ahead and jump into baseball. Baseball was in the opening round of the SAC tournament here at home, and boy, was it a weekend of many delays. I can't tell you how many delays they have had over the course of 3 games, bro. It was ridiculous. In game 1, it was literally, we had went through 2 innings in an hour and a half. Just 2 innings. That was in game 1. And what was crazy about that was it started out, you can imagine how much momentum switches when you have delays. Because it started out with the hit parade. In the first inning, we scored 5 runs on 5 hits. So it was like, okay, this is what we expected. We playing the last seed. We just finna roll over these boys and keep going. And Texas Wesleyan, they had some runs here and there. They had a different way of getting their run production. They played small ball, they bunt the ball, they get the base knocks, and they scored a couple runs here and there. But eventually, the delays started first with an umpire delay. So the umpire got hit by a fastball in the arm. So then he had to go, step off to the side, get his arm checked out, and then they found out, like, okay, we're gonna have to switch umpires. So that takes a little minute. That's about 10 to 15 minutes. So they had that was the first delay. And then Texas Wesleyan went to the bullpen in those first 2 innings probably 3 to 4 times in just those first 2 innings. So you got all this stuff going on. And then we had the lead the entire game, but there were a couple times where Texas Wesleyan was they low-key got it within striking distance.
Yeah,
they had the bases loaded twice. I can't remember what particular innings there were, but they had the bases loaded twice, and I was thinking to myself, this do not look good.
If we don't lock in and shake back from these delays,
they
could have a little shocker, a little upset.
Exactly,
which
because
we did not need.
No, not at all. You don't want to lose the first one.
Nah.
You don't want to lose the first one.
Especially at home with all the momentum.
Nah.
It would have been a huge,
I guess,
reality check.
It would have been.
And it would have
It would have changed a lot of things.
It would have changed a lot of things.
I think mentally, I mean, I'm not saying they wouldn't have got it done, but it definitely would have changed a lot of things. The biggest thing to me was we had big innings, but normally we have a couple of innings where we score big runs here and there, but we had those first 2 innings where we scored a lot of runs, and that was really it. And then throughout the rest of the game, Texas Wesleyan just kept chipping away. They just kept chipping away, and I got scared, like you said, for a minute. But we ended up winning this one 12-7. So we ended up winning the first one 12-7. But what I'll say, going into this next game, the win became a huge factor going into Game 2. Game 2 was another game loaded with delays, man. We're an extra base hitting team. You guys notice we hit doubles, we hit triples, we hit home runs. That's how we get our that's how we get our runs, our run production. That's what we live off of. And hitting into the wind this game killed down a lot of those hits. You know, I believe that there was probably 3 or 4 that probably would have been home runs if it wasn't for the fact that the wind was blowing in for the first time in a long time here at our field. And it just didn't really go too well for us. We went through 7 innings where we couldn't get anything. Texas Wesleyan was up on us 3-0 when they delayed the game to the next day. Not just an hour or 2. They delayed the game to the next day in the 7th inning. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? We're going to win. Because not only did I know that having that mental break for us gives us a complete reset, but I also knew that the next day it wasn't going to be the wind blowing in. It was probably either going to be the wind helping us or just no effect at all. And that's exactly what happened. In the very first inning that we came back to play in the very next day, the momentum switched just like that off of a outfield assist from Beltre in left field. They hit a ball to left field, and he gunned the guy out at home after he caught it. So he got a double play from an outfield assist. Crazy. So that was big, right? So then we come up in the bottom of that inning, and Samuel comes up eventually and hits a 3-run home run. It's a tie ball game immediately, which is what I expected. I was like, okay, they're going to come back and they're going to win this
ball
game.
game, everything we needed right there.
Yeah, I was like, we good, we straight. I spoke too soon on that, you know what I'm saying? We did have all the momentum, but Texas Wesleyan did answer. They hit a 3-run home run as well, and we ended up losing 4-6. So we dropped Game 2. And it was worrisome because we were the only team in this first 4 that ended up going to 3 games.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that don't look too good.
Pressure,
Yeah, a little pressure. So we went into Game 3, and I'll say this was the only normal game of the series. Weather-wise, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it was quiet. It was very quiet for a while until the bottom of the 6th. It was a very familiar sight this weekend where we only had 1 or 2 big innings, and the rest of the game we just couldn't put anything together. But sometimes those 1 or 2 big innings, that's all you need. That's all you need. And so Samuel came up to the plate. He hit a 2-run home run that kicked off the offense, and then Delvis came up later that inning and hit a 2 RBI double that put us up 5-1, and we ended up winning this one 5-1. So we take the first round and we move into that second round of the double elimination bracket that will be in Chickasha, and we'll be facing off against Oklahoma City. I'll get into that, but I want to talk about this first, and then I'm gonna let y'all feed off of that. We had some pitcher performances that were very good, but they worried me for a bit because Felix in Game 2, he went 8 innings, only allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, had 9 strikeouts, but he threw 135 pitches. Then Potts in Game 3, 7 innings pitched, 1 run on 3 hits, 8 strikeouts on 124 pitches. So both of these guys are loading their arms, and I was worried because I was like, that's a lot of pitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of pitches for a guy. But then I asked the coach, I always make sure I ask people before I just go on air and talk about it. And this is what he had to say when I asked him about that wear and tear on those arms. He said it's not really a concern. He said Felix has thrown a bunch of pitches this season in total, but with him being a DH, it takes a lot of wear and tear off of him because he gets to rest when he needs to during practice time. Because DH, you don't play the field, you know what I'm saying? All you do is hit. So if he ain't in the field, he gets to chill a little bit. So you sort of want to leave him in that position where he doesn't have to worry about throwing the ball here and there. Potts, they said on the other hand, he said he's an Iron Mike. He said that boy can throw for days and you don't have to worry about it. He says he goes out there during the week. He'll have a light day on Monday, then he'll throw 25 to 30 pitches on Tuesday, 30 to 35 on Wednesday, and then he'll throw 15 on Thursday, and then he's ready for the weekend.
That's it.
So that's nothing to worry about. That's what they tell me. They said them boys gonna do that regardless. So I said, okay, I'm gonna shut up then. Them boys did what they needed to do, and we got the win. On the offensive side of things, game 1, Felix was 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. He was 3 for 4 in game 2 and 3 for 4 in game 3. So he had a great weekend off the plate. Sinclair, Memo, and Cooper all had 2 hits in game 1. And then in game 2, Samuel was 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs. You know, that home run that he hit. And then game 3, Delvis and Samuel were both 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. And Axel, a media fellow,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? A media guy. He showed up. He got the call because shortstop at the time, I don't remember the exact reasoning behind why they switched out at short, but Axel got the call at shortstop, and he went 3 for 3 in game 3. So the boy did what he needed to do, and I'll tell you what, that boy's smooth with that glove. That boy is smooth with that glove. He is no defensive liability. If anything, it's like, hey, if you want some defense, you better throw that boy out there on the field.
3 for 3, like you can't argue with that.
Yeah,
either.
great to see. I mean, like you have that much depth.
Yeah.
Like one guy goes down or unable, or maybe not even performing that day.
Yeah.
Next guy up is gonna give you the same production, if
not better. Yeah.
Like that's great to see. So Axel, huge shout out to you, man. Like way to come in clutch.
Yeah,
and really go out there and handle business.
I love to see Axel get his name called, and then he 3 for 3. He couldn't have did any better, so he showed up for sure. But I think just the whole series, honestly, I don't know how good Wesleyan really is. I think if all conditions were normal, we'd probably whack them twice.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think they wanted to muddy up the whole series and each game individually, and I think they benefited more so off the rain delays and everything else and the postponings of the games. I think they benefited more than we did because it just, you know, you're a team you're not expected to win. They'll look for anything they can to throw us off their rhythm, and so that's why it just seemed like game 3. It's like, man, they were just trying to muddy the whole, dirty the whole game up. And I didn't know you could do that in baseball. Yeah, the coach acting a fool.
Got thrown out.
Daryl don't know what. Daryl, he was.
Talk about Daryl.
Daryl was god awful. I hope you don't see this, Daryl, but you need to work on your game. But it was just like, it was one of those things like why are they stopping the game every 5 minutes to make a sub? You know, I feel like Wesleyan had an intent to go in there and just try to throw us off our rhythm in a sense, and they did, and they got a win out of it. But
like,
you know,
they were they're needing to have everything possible go the way, and we're just trying to be there and get that game over with.
Exactly, like they had
get in and get out, go handle business and get out, and everything kept going wrong. That was out of our control.
It is,
and kept us there. And we're just like, bro, we just go.
Yeah,
we just go.
Good news is at this point it's just survive in advance, and that's what we did. Like I want to give Potts some credit because they got a couple bad calls his direction in my opinion when he was on the mound, but I think he stayed poised and finished the game as best he could. So Potts, shout out to you.
I mean, his character's always gonna show. He's a great guy to be around, great guy to talk to, great teammate as we mentioned before. And I feel like when his name's called as well, he goes out there and leads the charge and genuinely handles business.
Yeah.
So Potts, huge shout out to you, bro.
He always does. Their next move will be Oklahoma City, and that is not a team that you can underestimate. I know I've talked about them before. They're not the team they used to be, but it doesn't matter. This is playoff baseball, man. And they showed that because OKC was the lower seed. They were the only lower seed in the tournament to win. And they didn't just win. They waxed Southwestern Christian. I think it was 15-5. So they made a statement with that win, and they're letting people know that just because we didn't have the best regular season don't mean nothing. We still can hit, and we can still do what we need.
A winning culture, winning mentality for their organization. So, I mean, we have to show up and play our brand of baseball.
I feel like Oklahoma City, even in a year like this that you could call a down year, I guess, they've been historically so good. It's like you never can count them out in the postseason because they're one of those teams that they're so used to winning. They'll find a way to win a game, So they're seeing. I'm not gonna say you don't want to see them in the postseason because I do think we're more than capable of beating them. But they're definitely a team you have to take serious because of their culture and their history.
Yeah, and they come with a plan every time. I think they were the team that ended our winning streak. If you don't remember, we had like a 13-game, maybe 14-game winning streak, and they came in and they put an end to it. So. We did win the series, of course, but that's something to say. You know what I'm saying? That's something to remember.
Yeah.
If you going into the postseason, like, hey, these boys.
We are realistically, I mean, I don't want to say it, but realistically, we are beatable.
Everybody's beatable.
Everybody's beatable, and if we don't show up and our guys aren't on their game, I mean, we have to go out there and handle business. We cannot underestimate these guys. We cannot treat it like it's Tex West on a.
And it's not a series. If you lose the game, you lose the game.
So
it's not a series.
It's a one game.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's not like you're going to play them best out of 3. Like, you got to bring your best game right there.
I thought it was a series, man.
No. It's because it's a double elimination tournament. So there's 2 teams on each side now. And so this team plays this team one time, and this team plays this team one time. Those losing teams play each other, and those winning teams play again, and it just goes from there.
Keep going, yeah.
It's a double elimination, so you don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to win and then win, because you have the most rest when you win.
Yeah.
So they got to win. They got to win. That's it.
For sure.
But let's take this one on to softball. Softball had a matchup against Nelson over this past weekend, and in game one, this was a pitcher's duel. I can say that because, man, there was nothing going on offensively for either team until the very last inning. For us, pitching, of course, you know who it was, Adriana. She was on the mound. Yeah. She only gave up 2 hits, and our offense only put up 3 hits. But them 3 hits was enough. In the bottom of the 7th is where it happened. We got a runner on by walk. And she stole second. Well, they put on a pinch runner once after she got on, and she stole second. And I ain't gonna lie, we got lucky because she was gunned out at second, but the girl dropped the ball. Oof. So I was like, okay, that's good.
Sometimes you get a chance.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, exactly.
Luck on your side.
A little luck.
Just run with it.
Exactly. So she dropped the ball, so we ended up still surviving, and we had a runner on second, and Addie came up to the plate, and she cashed in the only run in the winning run of the game by hitting a double to left center to send us home in that first one, 1-0. So we won the first one. We went into game 2, and it was very different. It seemed like everybody was hit on both sides. In the bottom second, Michaela came up to the plate, and she hit a 3-run home run. So we was up 5-4 at this point, and man, did it fall apart from there. It was all Nelson, especially in the top of the 4th. After a couple of walks and 5 hits, they put together 7 runs that came across, man, and we ended up losing this one 5-13. So then we went into game 3, and it was almost a spitting image of game 1 because the same pitchers were on the mound from game 1. So it was just about the same outcome. Through 6.5 innings, only 1 run managed to come across that plate, and that was in the first inning, and that was from Nelson. So we're down 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th, and Nelson bailed us out. They walked the first batter, and we laid down a bunt, and in the stats, because I wasn't there watching, it looks like they threw the ball away, and we ended up scoring on the throwing error, and we tied it 1-1. So of course then we went into extras, and in extras we made a crucial error that allowed a run to score from second, and we got doubled off in the bottom of the 8th from center field to lose this one 1-2. And I've said it before, a lot of their games image each other. In game 4, it was just like game 2. In the top of the 4th, Nelson put together 7 hits and they scored 7 runs, just like they did in game 2. And with the way our offense was looking in this particular game, I knew that they probably weren't going to mount the comeback. So we ended up losing this one 2-7, and we lost the series 1-3. But it's okay. Even though it's a rough way to end the regular season, they still have the postseason. Now, what I will say, the postseason ain't gonna be no easier for them because they playing against USAO, who is top 5 in the nation, and they got the pitcher of the year. I mean, it's like, man, at this point, pray to God, you know, that y'all can go out there and just do the best that you can do. That's a real statement. Like, you go out there and you play your best game. Because my thing is, if I get beat by a team that I know is high, super high standards, and I play bad, I'm gonna feel bad about it. If I go out there and I lay my best game out there and I still lose, I put my best out there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
And at that point, you just tip your hat to them. And take it with pride.
Call it a day.
And that's the scary thing in USAO's point of view, is because, you know, a team with nothing to, let's be honest, what do we have to lose? We're the 8th seed. NCCAA is out of the question for us, so it's either the NAI national tournament or nothing. So we don't have much to lose. We're playing for pride at this point, but that's what should be scary for USAO because at this point, we can just go out swinging. You know, and they have the pressure on them to win. We have nobody expects us to win the game, which I think can work in our favor. So I hope they just go out there with a open and clear mind and just give it their best shot. And you know, you catch them on the right day and you give your best shot, you never know what can happen. USAO is a great team, but you know they're beatable. So
and if they come in little in over their head and
exactly.
Hungry, that's all we need.
So
that window opportunity being open, I think we can do it. It's just gotta. You gotta show up.
Gotta show up. You know, the thing that I like
about
about it though is just the fact that if we get by them in that one game, because it's only one game, if you win that one game, every other team that's in the tournament we've beaten. We might not have won the series,
but we beat them
but
at least
we
one
beat
game.
them at least one game, and all we need is one game.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a huge shocker to the conference.
So,
as a whole.
There's hope out there, and I really hope that they go out there and they have fun and they play their best. I would hate for them to lose not playing their best, because that's what stings, you know. I just want them to go out there and play their best. Adriana gonna be on the mound. I already know it.
Yeah.
She gonna throw a gem. All we gotta do is put together a couple
of hits.
If
we can just score, I don't know. I'm gonna put the target score at 5 runs because we know Williams is gonna be on the mound.
Yeah,
she's obviously she's been playing as good as anybody in the country has. But that being said, like, if we can just steal a couple runs, because Addie's gonna do her thing. Like, they're not gonna just have a field day with Addie. So.
Adriana,
I apologize, Adriana.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a pitching duel. Yeah. I really believe that, and I really believe that. So I hope that we can just get a couple runs across and get an upset win.
True, and call me crazy, but you know, if our record was a little bit better, Adriana would be receiving the same amount of.
I'm not
saying she's better than her. She's
really good.
That's for sure.
She's really good, man.
You know, if we had a better record, she'd be getting a lot more recognition, like the girl from USA.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think that she has a chip on her shoulder, something to prove.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of games this year that she definitely probably should have got the win for, but she didn't.
Yeah.
And so I know that she's definitely gonna go out there and leave her all out there. But that's all we got for softball. Let's take this one on to. I think we missed. Last week we did not cover beach volleyball because of the episode issues. I want to cover them so we don't leave them out. They were at Gulf Shores in Alabama at the Small College Beach Championships, and in their first matchup against TAMU Texarkana, they won 3-2. Avery and Lilu won in 3 sets, 2-1. They had some dominant sets. They won 21-9 and 15-7, and then Carly and Martina swept in straight sets. They won 2-0, and then Selma and Ilgen. Like I said, this is a different pair from previously in the year. It had been Selma and
Emily.
And Ilgen was paired with, where is she at? I did the same thing the last time I was trying to talk about this.
Was it Frida? Nah.
Selma and, it was Rachel and Ilgen. Rachel and Ilgen.
Yeah.
And so they lost in 3 sets, 1-2, and then Frida and Denise lost in 3 sets, 1-2, but Jordan and Louisa, they took it home for us, winning in 3 sets, 2-1. So we won the first matchup, and then we faced off against Mobile, who is one of those teams that is invited to the national tournament. But we ended up losing this one 1-3. The only win that we had was Frida and Denise, who won in 2 sets, 21-13 and 31-12. Carly and Martina were winning, but Mobile got their 3rd win before we finished, so they went ahead and shut that one down. So then we faced off against Brno, and we dogged them. We swept them 3-0. It was easy. Everybody won in straight sets. Probably would have been 5-0 if it wasn't for decision play. Jordan and Louisa won 21-8, 21-3. Avery and Lilu won 21-10, 21-12. That's what I'm saying. 21-3 is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Quick game, anyhow.
Carly and Martina won 21-8 and 21-10. And then Frida and Denise were about to finish. They were up 20-9 in the 2nd set. And then Selma and Ilgen already won their 1st set as well. So we probably would have swept them 5-0.
Them only having 1 digit on their scores in multiple sets.
Yeah. That's dogging.
It's a dominant performance.
Yeah, it's definitely a dominant performance. Then we went to the semifinals against number 8, Weber International, who was also invited to the NAIA championships for beach volleyball, and we lost. We got swept 0-3. It was a big-time competition, and Carly and Martina were the ones that had the closest sets. They lost 19-21 and 19-21. So then we got put in the 3rd place match against Truett McConnell, and we ended up winning 3rd place, winning 3-1. Selma and Ilgen were the only ones that dropped a pair, and they lost in 2 sets. And then Carly and Martina won 2-0. Avery and Lilu won in 2 sets, and Jordan and Louisa brought it home, winning 2 sets as well. So that was good for them. And then in the pairs challenge, where they do the individual pairs, Rachel and Emily, like I said, that was a different pair as well. They won their pool, winning both of their matches in straight sets versus Mary Hart and Baylor, 21-15, 21-19, and versus Southern Virginia, 21-14 and 21-10. And that would be it for beach volleyball's season. Y'all got any comments to add on them?
Great way to end the season.
Yeah, we can finish on a high note.
No, the expectations were obviously, I'm not going to say low, but kind of low.
We're
first year program, so obviously the expectations aren't, national champs.
Yeah.
No.
That's the dream, obviously, but not necessarily the goal for this year. I think the goal for this year is just to establish a program,
get confident,
and get confident and build for the future.
Yeah.
But I think they exceeded expectations, especially in 3rd place. I think that's something to be more than proud of. So, beach volleyball. All the pairs, huge congrats to y'all.
For sure, you know, and you look at, I think we definitely took a huge step from those first couple turns, because it was looking ugly those first couple turns.
It did look rough. It did look rough.
But you know, it's hard. They didn't even get the sand in the pit until like a week before they played. So there was a lot of adversity thrown their way. And of course, it's windy and cold. But when they're still practicing, like early February, I'd say maybe early March. But you know, they took a huge step forward. They started seeing some wins in the column, and then they finished on a high note.
You saw that confidence just build.
Exactly. And I think it snowballed. So they definitely played their best volleyball at the right time. And you know, for a first-year program, and our conference, we don't even have like a true conference yet as it is. So the sport itself is just growing in the NAIA level. So I think we're right on pace with the sport. I think we started at the right time. We're getting better, and the sport's going to grow, and we're going to get a full conference, I'm sure, eventually in the coming years. So, and we're going to compete at a national level, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I think we kind of set the bar high for other schools looking into possibly getting in the beach volleyball going forward. I mean, if we're a first-year program already getting third place, well, now it's like, all right, no excuses for everybody else.
Exactly.
Like, we can do it. We proved we can do it. And as long as we continue that level of improvement and that level of confidence and good performance, I think it's a great thing to be proud of.
I think so.
I think the spring has really had a lot of success in sports. I think there's a lot of success that's been going on in the spring. That's really good to see. Ending the year on a good note. And speaking of that, we're going to talk about, well, not even really talk about them a lot, because golf is currently at the SAC championships, both men's and women's. And so we might be bringing home another.
That would be nice.
Bro,
I'm expecting
3 in the spring would be crazy.
Nice. Women's too. Golf, men and women, so that could be
they
2.
Might,
could
bro.
be 2.
They might. But that would be crazy.
3 would be,
3 would be crazy. And if you count wrestling in the winter, that would be 4.
I'm gonna count wrestling for sure.
That's crazy. If we don't get that Commissioner's Cup,
dude, we're gonna
after winning 4 conference championships, I don't know how.
We'll have to boycott that.
Exactly, bro.
We dominated the spring.
No, we definitely did. We definitely did. Let's talk about these upcoming games, and then we'll get in some interesting topics. Thursday, softball will be facing off against USAO in that conference tournament, and then Friday, baseball will also be facing off against Oklahoma City in the conference tournament as well. Saturday, track and field, like Coach mentioned, they will be at Texas Tech for their last meet before national championships at the NAIA come up, and then that will be it for the week. So not a really busy week.
Yeah.
But man, we had some interesting things happen over the past couple of weeks. The biggest one, well, I won't say the biggest one because they all really big, but the one that I saw happen first was, y'all already knew with Coach leaving that there was going to be some big moves in the women's basketball team, and that's exactly what happened. Megan Nestor is gone. She left and she went to North Texas, a D1 school in the AAC conference. Is that correct?
Yes,
American Athletic.
Yeah, they're in America.
Yeah, man. So big ups to you, Meg. That's always, you know, when I see athletes leave here and they go to bigger schools, I am happy for you. And there's no like animosity, because at the end of the day, you want to see people succeed. And so if you come here at the NAIA level, let's be real, everybody's dream is to go D1 as an athlete, bro. And so for her to come here and play just two years, just 2 years,
not even that, but the way she came in and the player she is now, the amount of improvement, the amount of hard work and dedication she constantly put in, and dedication that the coaches poured into her.
True.
You know what I mean? You saw it. You saw the growth. I think this is a lot about our program.
Yeah.
A lot about our coaching staff, and I guess most importantly, who Megan is as a person.
Yeah.
And an athlete. I mean, huge props to her. Very, very proud of you and happy for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got to give her some love. 3 years ago, she was playing netball in St. Lucia. Had never played basketball before, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do have to give Cooper credit, because, I mean, he took a risk on her, and it paid off tenfold for sure. She came here and was a 2-time All-American, broke pretty much every record there was to break, so you have to just give her respect.
Yeah, her jersey got put in the Hall of Fame for, they did that thing for the year, and that, so yeah, she had many accomplishments.
All that to say, she had nothing left to prove at the NAIA level, and another thing that I think is worth mentioning is that she could pick and choose from Division I's. I know Texas Tech was in the mix. I heard Charleston State as well, and UNLV, so she ended up riding with North Texas, which I think she'll thrive in that situation. But for her to have an opportunity to pick and choose what Division I school she wanted to go to,
that's big
compared to where she was at 3 years ago, man, you got to tip your hat to her.
I guess I'm going to be following North Texas women's basketball next year, because I got to see it.
Yeah, I got to see it, man. I'm excited.
I got to see it. It's going to be big, because I think the biggest thing is you can when you go from here and at a smaller facility, you don't have everything isn't accessible to you. When you go to those bigger schools, not only do you have a better training room, you got better athletic training, you got better facilities, you got better coaching. I mean, it's just so many things that add up to it. And so if you take somebody that went from here and just 2 years, they went crazy, and then you put them at another level with different things that they can add on to their training, it's going to be exciting to see.
I think she's also just going to do a lot for NAIA, because a lot of people who don't know anything about college sports think NAIA is
it's nothing. And they really do.
And if she continues to play at a high level at the Division I level, not only will it make Waylon look good, but it'll make NAIA look good, because
you thought it was sweet.
There's some studs here in NAIA, and you'll find out the hard way most likely when you come to one. But I think she's going to put the NAIA on the map. So I'm rooting for her, and I wish her nothing but the best.
Absolutely. And keeping it on the Flying Queens, we just talked about the coaching situation. They did hire a new women's basketball coach, and that is Jordan Vessels. This is her first head coaching job. Tuck, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so the first head coaching job, she's local to an extent. She's from right down the road in Canyon, which they've won as many state championships as you can count with the women's program there in Canyon High School. But she's been at two Division I's, Texas Tech and UTA, been an assistant coach on both staffs, and then I think she GA'd at West Texas back a while ago as well. So, and she's also been a director of basketball operations at Tech and UTA, and then was upgraded to an assistant coach. So, all that to say, she's wore a lot of hats. She's diverse in the college basketball realm. She's done a lot of things, had a lot of jobs, but I think when you have somebody who was coming from a Power 5 Division I school, she has a lot to bring to your program. So time will tell, but from what I've read so far, I would say it was the right hire. And also appreciate the fact that she's local, and hopefully she'll recruit locally, because I think that's the big thing that the Flying Queens do is they always take 3 or 4 local girls, and most of them pan out to be really good for us. So I think there's something to be said about that. So I'm excited for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we had another new head coach as well, and that will be the track and field coach. They have a new head track and field coach. Go ahead and talk to me about that, Dev.
Nicholas Douglas, I believe is his name. So he came from North Greenville University. I couldn't really find much on him, but I do know that when he was in school, he was a triple jumper, I believe.
Triple jump, yeah.
Yes, he did triple jump. NCCAA champion, so clearly he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
Knows what to bring to the table. So I'm just hoping he'll follow up the result we had this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully the guys that we had this year stay and trust the process.
Yeah.
And hopefully, my biggest wish is just that he commits to this program.
Yeah.
I know the athletes themselves don't want to.
They don't want to keep going.
They're tired of having different coaches and stuff like that. It's very hard to develop as an athlete when you're constantly having
leader all the time.
Yes, different leader. You're having to learn different techniques and having to build trust over and over again. I know that's draining and probably damaging to an athlete's career. So I really hope he stays. I'm hoping he has what it takes to bring another championship to the program.
I think it's going to be interesting to see over the next year with all these new coaches and things of that nature how successful we are in the next seasons. Of course, got a fall sport with the new coach. And a couple of spring sports and a winter sport as well with the new coach. So it's going to be interesting. I hope that the man finds the same amount of success because he's a young guy, and with young coaches, it's always like a big question, is he ready for this? And
previously an assistant coach.
But exactly.
So taking on that head coaching job, I'm assuming it's his first head coaching job.
Yeah, it is.
So that's huge. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure.
You know who it reminds me of though? Gallion.
True.
He took on his first head coaching job at what, 24?
He was like the youngest.
Bro.
In NAIA. He still is. Where I think he just turned maybe 30 or 31. He's been a head coach for 7 years, and
finding a lot of success.
A lot of people his age have.
A lot of success.
It's a risk hiring a young guy, but no risk, no reward.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know, man. So I hope that he's bringing that same type of success to the track and field program because it's going to be beautiful to see. But that is all that we have for y'all this week, man. It's going to be crazy because I think the last show is going to be next week. The last show is going to be next week.
You're going to see us 3 on, man.
Yeah, man. Yep, we finna get on up out of here. But we'll catch you guys same time next week.